Media Fact Checker. Today's Australian news. 4 stories. These are the stories in this video. Timestamps are shown if you would like to skip ahead. Story 1 of 4. Australian universities' misuse of confidentiality clauses in student complaints, especially sexual harassment cases. Australian universities' misuse of confidentiality clauses in student complaints, especially sexual harassment cases. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. The National Student Ombudsman (NSO) report found 21 out of 44 Australian universities use confidentiality clauses in student complaints, including those about gender-based violence. The University of Technology Sydney (UTS), James Cook University (JCU), and the University of Newcastle were singled out for improperly applying confidentiality clauses that breached trauma-informed practices. UTS was ordered to apologise to a student named Hayley, pseudonym, for effectively silencing her after she complained of sexual harassment and was later investigated for alleged confidentiality breaches. The NSO report concluded UTS did not have evidence that Hayley discussed specific details of her complaint or investigation, yet still pursued misconduct proceedings against her. The NSO was established in February 2025 as an independent service to address systemic failures in university complaint handling, receiving over 2,200 complaints in its first 6 months. But not all outlets told the same story. News Kamau states the NSO found UTS's advice about discussing complaints with family friends was inconsistent, contradictory, and lacked a timeline, while ABC does not mention this inconsistency in its reporting. News Kamau reports the NSO recommended confidentiality clauses should only apply to the complaint process and not to the student's experience, but ABC does not explicitly mention this recommendation. News Kamau quotes a student advocate group saying everyone who reports says they ended up regretting it, but ABC does not include this specific quote or sentiment. This story was covered by ABC News and news.com.au. Story 2 of 4. 2 men charged with manslaughter after fatal Bruce highway crash involving stolen truck. 2 men charged with manslaughter after fatal Bruce highway crash involving stolen truck. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. A 26-year-old Caboolture man named Andre Roberts died in a head-on crash on the Bruce Highway near the Deception Bay Road exit at 10:30 p.m. on February 17th. A 46-year-old Redcliffe man was charged with manslaughter and multiple theft-related offences, including 4 counts of enter premises and commit, 3 counts of stealing, 2 counts of receiving tainted property, and 1 count of unlawful use of a motor vehicle. A 42-year-old Narangba man was charged with manslaughter and dangerous operation of a vehicle causing grievous bodily harm. The crash involved a stolen Isuzu truck, white, travelling southbound in the northbound lanes, and a Honda Accord that burst into flames upon impact. The truck was stolen from a Hemant business and was allegedly being followed by a Ford Ranger in the moments before the crash. But not all outlets told the same story. No contradictions found between the 2 sources. This story was covered by ABC News and news.com.au. Story 3 of 4. Research reveals how proximity to trees affects property values and public attitudes toward urban trees. Research reveals how proximity to trees affects property values and public attitudes toward urban trees. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Associate Professor Song Shi led a study, 2021 to 2025, at the University of Technology Sydney showing trees 10 to 20 metres from a house increase property value by $30,000, while trees within 10 metres reduce value by up to $70,000, accounting for bedrooms, land size, parking, and CBD proximity. Landscape architect Matt Cantwell, Secret Gardens, notes homeowners often oppose trees on private property despite valuing street trees for aesthetic appeal in neighbourhoods like Ocean Street, Woollahra, and Paddington Street, Paddington. Danielle Hughes, Greater Sydney Landcare, reports residents frequently resist trees due to perceived messiness or safety concerns, such as gum trees dropping branches or attracting pests like ants. Dr. Nader Naderpaju, University of Sydney, and PhD candidate Amir Pakiz found Western Sydney suburbs like St Mary's and Blacktown increased tree coverage, while Liverpool saw a decline, possibly linked to construction, e.g., new airport expansion. National President of the Australian Institute of Architects Adam Haddow attributes reluctance toward private trees to maintenance concerns, including dropped leaves, flowers, or branches affecting pools and lawns. But not all outlets told the same story. No contradictions found between the two sources. This story was covered by Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Story 4 of 4. Sydney Swans alter Bondi tribute script to omit Jewish community reference, sparking controversy and Royal Commission inquiry. Sydney Swans alter Bondi tribute script to omit Jewish community reference, sparking controversy and Royal Commission inquiry. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. The Sydney Swans altered a pre-match tribute script on March 5 at the Sydney Cricket Ground, SCG, to remove references to the Jewish community, initially including the phrase "We stand with the Jewish community." Swans chief executive Matthew Pavlik delivered the tribute during the opening round match against Carlton on March 5, 2024. Gerard Healy, a journalist and former Swans player, revealed the script was edited to remove the Jewish community reference, stating the script was changed. Initially, it had, "We stand with the Jewish community." The Bondi terror attack occurred on December 14, 2023, during a Jewish community event marking the first night of Chanukah, with the majority of victims being Jewish. Liberal Senator James Paterson referred the AFL to the Royal Commission on Anti-Semitism and Social Cohesion, alleging the league may have been involved in the script change. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian and ABC both report the Swans claim the script change was an error of judgment to use inclusive language, but The Age highlights Senator Paterson's criticism that the Swans believed removing Jewish references was inclusive. The Guardian and ABC both state the Swans deny AFL involvement in the script change, but Senator Paterson's letter to the Royal Commission implies AFL staff may have been involved. The Guardian and ABC report the Swans' apology came after the Royal Commission referral, while The Age emphasises the Swans' apology was issued on Monday following the initial revelation. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and The Age. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis.